All right, we're back. Welcome to the show podcast. August 3rd. The Red Sox just got swept. Manny is my co-host who's a Yankee fan. So
What's up, guy? I am. Yeah, let's go Yankees, man. Wow, what a weekend.
you feel good about yourself, huh?
Also, in all seriousness, though, that game was entertaining yesterday.
No, it was. It was. Back,
Can you
yeah.
imagine if there were fans in that building?
You know, one thing that I want to say that is a positive of not having fans in the building is watching Clayton Kershaw pitch.
Mhm.
Because he doesn't have an overpowering fastball, none of that. But just seeing him like pitch in silence to me, it was like poetry. Like, and just hearing like the glove, hearing his pitches hit the glove, hearing the pop, something you don't hear so clearly when there's fans in the stands. I thought it was a small positive to take away from this pandemic 60 game season we're having.
Where do you stand on those virtual fans that Fox is putting up with certain camera angles?
I think that either make it consistent or just don't do it at all.
So I heard somewhere that for each camera angle that they CGI the fans in, it's like $100,000 per game, and there's a lot of camera angles. So it
Yeah,
could
so
be up to $1 million. It just doesn't make financial sense. That's why you have some certain angles where the empty stadium, and then certain angles where the stadium is full. But where the stadium is full, at one point I forgot that the stadiums were empty because it was one of the home runs. I forget who hit it, and from a distance, it looks like there's actual people in the stands. Like there's pretty good graphics. And it kind of scared me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I could see a presidential candidate in the future
using
say
that.
that more people were at their rally or some shit than
Oh, wow.
actually were.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a good chance, but honestly, I could do without it. Like,
I could do without it too. $100,000 for one camera angle. Take that money and donate it to food banks and shit during this
yeah,
pandemic. You know what I mean?
buy some tests. Buy some tests.
Yeah. Buy
Some
some
test kits.
tests. Let's get this shit going and buy some
Seriously.
tests, man.
Yeah. And I gotta say, I know they got to make their money with all this advertising, but I'm getting a little annoyed with all the advertising that I'm seeing. Like,
In
leave
the
it off the field.
stadiums.
Yeah, I feel like leave it off the field. Like the little advertising behind the pitcher's mound. I think I mentioned this already in a previous episode, but I could do without it.
I'm okay. It doesn't bother me that much,
Eh,
especially now. Like I understand they have to make their money otherwise. These billionaires need to make another million. I mean, come on, they're gonna go
eh.
poor if they don't make that extra million. They're gonna fucking the country's gonna fall apart.
Yeah, I'm just saying there's already enough and I'm talking about baseball because in basketball, I guess I don't see it as much. In football, you don't see it as much, but in baseball, like all the outfield is advertising, the stadium is advertising, the seats are not advertising, the foul lines have advertising next to it, like it could
Audi.
be like the
I saw
guy.
that in the Yankee game. There's like
Yeah,
an Audi symbol.
and then you guys got to squeeze in a little fucking emblem behind the pitcher's mound that just looks stupid and tack. Like, come on,
See, that doesn't bother me that much, man. I
just
understand that's the way of the world now. As long as the uniforms, like the Nike symbol, doesn't bother me, but
can you
just don't go overboard. Don't make it look like NASCAR next. Like you have
can
freaking
yeah can
pylons on the side of your.
But can you put that little, for example, like PNC Bank? Is that what it? PCM Bank, PNC
I don't
Bank,
even know, man.
whatever bank I saw on the pitcher's mound, and I forget the game I was watching. But could you not just fit that like in the little HUD of the score that's on like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
top left? Can you just not fit that like inside of the diamond where they show the bases or something? Like,
Yeah.
can you put it somewhere that? Fuck.
Also, the Yankees, I noticed they don't have cardboard cutouts, and they have the tarps over the seats in the front row where the camera angles are. But I didn't see, especially behind home plate, I don't see any ads or anything around. I thought that was kind of weird. They're like the only team that I've seen so
They
far
don't
that
need it,
don't.
man. They're just trying to. It's just a power move. They don't need. They're showing the world that they don't need to squeeze every dollar out
All
of
I'm
it.
saying is when Francisco Lindor becomes available via the trade, Glaber could go back to second, raise some money so you can pay Lindor's contract.
So, do you want to get into some of the news that's gone on since the last
Just
time
gonna
we
brush,
recorded?
just
Do
gonna
you,
brush
or
right
do
past that.
you want to get into some Red Sox Yankees?
Let's get the Yankees, Red Sox, Yankees out of the way. I
Okay.
know it was a rough weekend for you. I see you're Red Sox everything all over the place. I see the towel, I see the shirt back there. You're
You gotta
wearing a shirt.
you gotta represent.
Um, the Red Sox are in last place currently, 3-7. The Baltimore Orioles are in second place at 5-3, right behind the Yankees, who are 7-1. Wow. I think that's the first time they've been 7-1 or something since like '03 or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not counting. I'm not counting. The Red Sox they're a good team, obviously. Like I was looking yesterday, I was about to text you guys when I saw Xander Bogaerts was batting fourth. I was about to text you guys, but it was the wrong time to, because I know there was a whole bunch of people in our chat that was going to be like, "Oh, this is why he's batting fourth, blah blah blah," or whatever. But I feel like he's your best hitter in that lineup.
Best
Him, JD
player.
Martinez, best player. Why not put him 2 or 3, man? Like get him more at bats.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest, man. I feel like everybody in that lineup could make contact and get on base. It'd be nice to have some, go old school, have the quicker guys, I guess, leading off. But I, I don't know what to do anymore. I can't believe we got swept. I think last night was the game to win, and we
But no, what I
lost.
was gonna say was I was about to text you guys, but then I started that he hit that home run. He had 2 home runs yesterday. I think he went 4 for 4, maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe 3 for 4. I know that he was raking yesterday. He was on
Yes,
fire. So I started looking at the lineup to see if I could make an argument. And it's you guys have your lineup is deep. I mean, you
it is
have
deep. Yeah.
Rafi, JD, you have Xander. Where do you like anywhere 1 through 5? Like, you know, they're a deep lineup, and you saw it yesterday. Your lineup did everything it could to stay in that game, but your pitching kept giving it up. I think 4 leads were surrendered yesterday by Red Sox pitching. It's kind of crazy, and I'm starting to wonder, even if Chris Sale was healthy, would it even have made that big of a difference? One pitcher, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I think it would have made somewhat of a. I think it would have made a big difference, but I also want to point out that as bad or good as the Red Sox lineup did yesterday, or the pitching giving up the leads, I really think it came down to Aaron Judge just playing on another level. Like,
My God.
I don't think it mattered who was pitching in that situation. I think if you got Aaron Judge up to plate, and you obviously can't pitch around them anymore because you got Stanton behind them, or Gleyber Torres, or whoever was batting behind them, he's the reason why we lost that game. It's not. I don't think it has to do with how poor our pitching was, because was it Matt Barnes
Matt
that gave
Barnes
up
gave up.
gave up the
Matt
home
Barnes
run?
gave up that bomb, the 468 footer.
The go, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think I think he was pitching good before that. So Aaron Judge is just playing up to the MVP prediction that you had at the beginning of the year. I just want to say that I
He's good.
drafted Aaron Judge last year to my fantasy team in the first round, second round, I think it was.
First or
Went
second.
high. I think I had the last pick, so I turned around and got Aaron Judge, like with the snake draft. And just fuck you, man. That's all I gotta say.
Something tells me that you are the owner of what we like to call El Fuku in our fantasy league.
Nah, no way.
And you had a good week too. I just think I just had a better week, man.
You had the best week. You had the best week in the league. Yeah. So if anybody was wondering from one of our last episodes, yes, Manny and me faced off week 1 fantasy baseball, and he handled it. He handled the week better than I did. I got to be honest. If I didn't pick up all those streamers at the beginning of the week that all gave me negative points, and if Harper had taken some at bats since last Sunday,
Yeah.
might have been different. I don't know, but
I picked up a few relievers that screwed me over. Jimenez, Joe Jimenez, I think it's Joe Jimenez from the Detroit Tigers. Yeah, Joe Jimenez, who's been doing really good, gave me negatives yesterday. I picked up Robles twice, and twice he blew saves for me. There was somebody else I picked that gave me negative points. So I mean, I don't mean to toot my horn, but I mean, could I have had 600 points this week? I mean, it's possible. It's possible, man.
how do you think? What is your take on James Paxton? 2 starts, not
I don't
looking
know,
good.
man. He confuses me because sometimes he looks incredible and sometimes he looks like he did yesterday, and he doesn't have an explanation for the velocity drop. He thought it was mechanics, but yesterday his velocity was down again. It was only at 91, 92, 90, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I think that and we didn't talk about the expanded playoffs so much last week, but I'll make a quick point that I wanted to make. I think what the expanded playoffs is gonna do or should do for teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers, which I think the Dodgers took advantage of it. As soon as they saw that the playoffs were expanded, I feel like they put Clayton Kershaw on the IL because they were like, fuck it. We have a good enough team. We're probably playoff bound. So let's just get this guy right before we start. I feel like the Yankees should take a similar tact. And if there's something up with James Paxton's velocity or his mechanics or whatever, put him on the IL and figure it out. And you have enough pitching. Loaiziga did pretty good last week. You have that kid Clark Schmidt, I think his name is, who they're saying is MLB ready. You saw him throwing nasty stuff in summer camp. Fix it before the postseason comes because we're already more than a tenth. Almost, we're about tonight is game what for the Yankees? They're 7-1, 8,
11.
So,
oh, never mind. 9.
What's that? What's that?
9th game.
9th game. So, okay, so the season's gonna be over sooner than we think. So let's fix that situation up. And yeah, that's pretty much where I stand.
So I think it's pretty interesting that the Red Sox in 10 games have made 8 errors. 8 errors.
Mm-hmm.
Can't say
Devers
that
looked
word.
good yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Devers made 2 amazing
incredible
plays at third. Yeah. But still, man, the guy's gonna end up injuring Xander Bogaerts because of his floppiness on the field.
Yeah.
So that they're currently 4th in Major League Baseball, tied for 4th with the Nationals, but the Nationals have only played 7 games and the Red Sox have played 10 games. So we have 8 errors as a team. The Yankees have 6. The difference is the Yankees have better pitching, which I think helps out a lot, but we're not helping ourselves, man, with these nobody pitchers that are rolling out there. And I was going to give Zach Godley credit because in the second start, I think he actually performed well. Then he came around and just shit the bed with the Yankees, but it doesn't help
gave up a 455 footer to Aaron Judge.
It doesn't help that we have these pitchers and we're making all these errors. So, something's got to give. We got to turn this around somehow.
So do you think that the Boston Red Sox will finish last in the division?
No.
Well, what did you think I was going to ask? Because
I thought you meant, do I think the Red Sox will be in the playoffs, the expanded playoffs? My answer is yes.
You think they are? Okay.
Yeah. With the expanded playoffs, yeah, because you're going to have teams that are under 500 that will make it. And I believe that the Red Sox are, at the very least, a 500 team.
I think your lineup could carry your team to a postseason too. But I think when it comes to the postseason, if this is the pitching situation.
Well, listen, that's a different question there. So, no, I don't think they'll be in last place. Yes, I think they'll make it to the playoffs. Question mark on whether or not we will do well in the playoffs.
And now, quick with the postseason thing, because we should have talked about this last week, so it's already old news. But 8 teams are going to make it to the postseason in each league. So there are 15 teams in each league. Over 50% of the teams will make it to the postseason. And the way it's going to work is instead of that elimination wildcard game, the first round will be a best of 3, if I'm understanding this correctly. How do you feel about that whole situation? Best of 3 to get into the ALDS. The ALDS will be a best of 5. ALCS best of 7. World Series best of 7.
Is there still going to be a 1-game wild card?
No.
All right. I'm okay with that.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the top 3 teams, maybe the division winners, get to pick their opponent. So let's say the Yankees have a 40-20 record, and that's the best record in the American League, and the Cleveland Indians have a 25-35 record, and they're the lowest. The Yankees could pick the Indians as their first opponent. How do you feel? Do you like that whole thing?
I kind of like it because it adds a little bit of like a underdog weight to it.
Yeah.
Like,
how do you come back from that? Like, how do you come back?
Like, let's say you had
that series.
Exactly. Like, let's say you had the choice between, let's say as the Red Sox, like we're division rivals to the Yankees. They have the best record. They got to choose between us, the Indians, or whoever. And let's say we have a better record, like just a slightly better record than the next team. But they're like, you know what? Look, we just swept the Red Sox based off this last weekend. We want to face the Red Sox. This matchup gives us the best chance to advance. As a Red Sox team, I'd be like, all right, bet. Like I'm fired up now. Like now, that's all I want to do. Like I wanted to beat you obviously before, but you want to face us now. Like that's on you.
Yeah, I think it's it's extra motivation. I feel like these
Yeah.
teams are gonna maybe police themselves, and I think that in that case, the team with the highest record is probably gonna pick the team with the lowest record, unless it's a team within the division that they see more of. You know
Now
what I
here's
mean?
here's the question. Would the decision of what team you have to face off in that first round, should that come from the analytics department that's crunching all the numbers? Should it come from the manager or the general manager or someone who just has the
Yeah.
final word? Or should it come from more of like the team? Like should Aaron Judge gauge the locker room and be like, guys, like this is our series. Who do you
You would
guys want
hope
to
it would
play?
come from the players,
Yeah.
but it's weird because the problem is that the numbers don't lie. So like you can have a set of numbers that say that you match up better against one team versus another, but sometimes those numbers I don't know, like in the postseason, for example, those numbers go out the window. So like for example, the Yankees, I'm going to use the Indians as another example because they traded away Trevor Bauer, Corey Kluber, and somehow they still have a beast of a rotation. I don't know if they end up having the worst record and the Yankees end up having the best record. I don't know if I want to face the Cleveland Indians because that rotation could shut the Yankee lineup down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I wanted to actually ask you, like, are you concerned at all about? I know the Yankees are 7-1, hottest team in baseball, have the hottest player in baseball, hottest pitcher in baseball, all the good stuff. But
Keep going, man. Keep going.
it's the argument every year. Like they're only scoring runs via the home run,
Home run.
and every year you bring that to the playoffs. The good pitching eliminates the excess number of home runs, right?
Well, now
So,
you're hoping that with Garrett Cole, you can neutralize that.
well, yeah, but Garrett Cole is not gonna. He's not hitting. So
No, but
the whole argument is that teams that usually lead the league in home runs don't win the World Series, except for the
mhm.
2009 Yankees, I believe.
Oh yeah.
So, are you concerned at all that literally, I think they were on a streak of like 15 runs in a row, all came from the home runs. Luke Voigt, ever since Luke Voigt's grand slam, I think, or maybe even Aaron Judge's home runs from the game before, until DJ LeMahieu drove in Talkman yesterday, I think it was.
Yeah.
Every run had come via the home run.
Yeah, that's a little concerning to me. Um, but I'm willing to do whatever to get into the postseason, and then when you get there, it's a whole different game. And I think that with Garrett Cole, we finally have a piece that I feel like was the missing piece in all these postseasons. Is we didn't have that stopper. Like we were relying on guys like CC Sabathia. We were relying on Masahiro Tanaka turning into a different version of himself in the postseason. And guys like that. Now you have a guy that you feel comfortable putting up against a Max Scherzer or or a Justin Verlander or whatever. And you hope that you win those games, and then the other games you hope that your lineup is strong enough to defeat the other pitcher.
Yep.
So I feel more confident about it this year, but yeah, and at the same time, we also have guys who are scrappy guys like DJ LeMahieu. You have guys like Tyler Wade, who I think has showed that he should have a place in this team as like a pinch runner late in the game, steal some bases, an aggressive base runner, like make the defense make some mistakes or whatever. And I like our bullpen too. Our bullpen has been solid this year so far. I haven't seen really any concerning pieces.
Now,
I feel good about my team, man. Finally.
yeah, just to throw this a little bit off the rails and just hit on something that we usually touch on every episode, but the Matt Fatskursion and A-Rod commentary was
Oh,
awkward last night. It was
it
awkward.
was. I don't.
A-Rod
I don't.
A-Rod
I
was
don't.
extra. A-Rod was a little extra cringy yesterday. He
Wow.
he fumbled his words a couple of times. He made
Couple
a claim.
times.
You're over exaggerating. I would advise you just please stop. I'm trying to have a serious conversation over here. Please just refrain from poking fun, please.
I'm sorry, man.
Just give it 2 minutes.
Sorry
Uh,
about that.
A-Rod makes a claim that Gio Urshela is the best defensive third baseman in baseball. I gotta just in defense of A-Rod, I saw nothing but premier highlights from Gio Urshela last year at third base.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where I was like, this guy is a gem. Like he's where did they get this guy? Well,
He's solid.
And he's putting up great offensive numbers. But I was more impressed with the defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
You probably don't know this, but even a guy like Gleyber Torres, like I think Gleyber Torres is pretty good at defense. Maybe not as great as being on the Yankees makes you out to be, because guys like Derek Jeter get 5 Gold Gloves. Nobody asks how that happens, but
that was at a time when all these advanced stats weren't around, and people went by fielding percentage and bullshit like that.
Yeah, popularity contest. I get it. So on MLB The Show, a guy like Gleyber Torres is a bad defender, and so is a guy like Gio Urshela. So I find it kind of weird how, I'm not saying he's the best defensive third baseman, but I think you can make the case that he's top 5 best defensive third basemen in baseball, even though there's a lot of great defenders in baseball.
Yeah, I was just going to say Nolan Arenado,
Chapman.
Matt Chapman is probably the best defensive third baseman.
And they are the best, but for MLB The Show to give Gio Urshela, I think it was like a bronze rating. So there's common, which is no color, bronze, silver, gold, and then diamond. He's a bronze. Like,
so I don't know if you know. I don't know if you know this, but MLB The Show is a video game. Just
yeah, but I'm just saying that.
No,
A-Rod,
I think that
A-Rod points out his great defensive ability.
A-Rod is such a homer, man. I'm sorry, man. I think
so is Matt Vasgersian. We gotta play back the audio of Matt Vasgersian calling Aaron Judge's home runs. I've never.
That was a shot, man. I appreciate that.
Damage having a guy like Jeter and Damon to wear down.
Oh my goodness! Aaron Judge has done it again! Homers in 5 straight! Santa Maria!
It was.
I think that if Xander Bogaerts hit that shot, he would have had the same reaction. In that point of the game,
he had a very exciting reaction to Xander Bogaerts' home runs.
Mm-hmm.
But the Aaron Judge home runs,
oh my God!
Like, I've never heard him act like that before.
Yeah. It's a good game. I don't know. Maybe watching the game from a booth somewhere, from a studio, as opposed to being in the stadium where there's people around you. Like, maybe that's how he reacts when he watches games in his living room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know that if I had a job calling games and I was in the stadium surrounded by people, my behavior is going to be a lot less aggressive than it is when I'm sitting at home watching a game. And maybe he's sitting in a booth with A-Rod. They're bullshitting in between innings. Yo, hey, did you get that girl's number? Nah, man, J-Lo will fuck me up if I do that shit. Blah, blah, blah. No, all right, whatever. They're comfortable. They're drinking beers under the table. They're not wearing their suit pants. They're probably in their underwear. You know what I mean? Like, just hanging out. 2 guys in a studio.
Yeah, they
were
got
excited when he saw a shot by Aaron Judge, man. The guy's a mammoth. He's going to hit it out of Yankee Stadium one day.
Dude, I'm just saying, like, you're allowed to have your moments of being excited and going overboard, but like he was yelling, the mic was distorted. Like,
I know.
For anyone listening to that game with headphones on, RIP to your earbuds. Like,
yeah, for reals. Real quick on Giovanni Urshela, Gio Urshela, for those of you who are Yankees fans. Last year, he was about league average. He had a 1 DRS.
That's some bullshit, man. That's some bullshit.
So, but Matt Chapman conversely had a 34 DRS. And that's the thing, is that you see guys who make consistent, tough plays. And automatically your mind says, oh, that guy's a great defensive third baseman. And that's true. I agree. I think Gio Urshela is the best defensive third baseman. But when I look at his numbers and how they calculate these numbers, what it tells me is that he's really good, but he's not going to make the same plays that a guy like Matt Chapman makes. So,
there's
like a spectrum, you know what I mean? But that doesn't make him a not good fielder. You know what I mean?
It's a spectrum, but that's what I'm saying. Like, those stats say that he was an average defender at third base. So it compares it to third base to third baseman, or third base to every other position.
To third baseman.
So to me, like, I saw enough of Gio Urshela last year to just make the conclusion that he is not an average defender. He's an elite defender. To me, he has to be. I mean, he makes tough plays almost every game. What else? I don't need to see anything else.
And,
you know.
And maybe someone like Matt Chapman and Nolan Arenado and even Josh Donaldson has really good numbers last year. Those guys are skewing the numbers a little bit because their defensive numbers are through the roof. They're insane.
I got to look at these numbers, and I got to come to, and once and for all, I got to see how, like, what each thing actually means, how they came to this conclusion, because enough is enough, man.
I mean,
Jeter was not a 5 Gold Glove winner.
I consider Gio Urshela to be a really, like, I consider him to be elite if I look at him playing third base.
To me,
By
he's
the
the
way,
best.
man, the Yankees, man, Gio Urshela, like, they just took this guy from Cleveland. Like, you guys don't want him? We'll take him. And look what he turned into, man.
To me, Gio is the best defender in the Yankees.
I
Not
agree.
Aaron Judge. Not Aaron Judge.
All right,
Not Aaron Hicks.
Calm down. Aaron Judge is a really good right fielder. You keep your mouth shut.
What do the numbers say? What do the defensive? Because I guarantee Judge gets a Gold Glove this year. How much you want to bet?
Oh my God. Well, yeah, Mookie's not around anymore, so probably.
What do the numbers say about Judge's defense?
What do I look like here? You're a numbers guy? Is that what I am to you? I don't know. How many innings did he play last year, do you think? Like 700? Judge. Wow. Number 1 in defensive run saves last season. And that was pretty good, man. I guessed right on the money. He played 775.1 innings. I guessed 700. Man, I'm good.
Nobody listening to this believe for any second that was a out of the blue guess. Manny reads these numbers. He reads these numbers to sleep every night.
No, I don't. Mookie Betts was number 2 with 16 defensive run saves. Cody Bellinger was 22. So Cody Bellinger and Judge were tops for right fielders. And I think it's true, but I think it's also Judge's size. He's only defending a corner outfield. He's in right field. He's a big dude. So one of his strides is like 2 of Mookie Betts' strides. You know what I'm saying? And he's tall as fuck, so he can rob homers. That's another thing they calculate is how many outs above averages he's going to make. And he probably makes more outs than other guys because he's tall. He doesn't have to make crazy you never see Judge make any crazy catches. All he does is maybe dive for one and then gets hurt for 2 months. But I think I agree with this. And you know what this says too? A lot of people were shitting on Bryce Harper's defense last year. He was one of the best defenders for the Phillies.
Okay.
Aaron Judge, man. Gold Glove this year. Here we go. MVP, Gold Glove. What else can he do? Let's see. Home run
Silver
champ,
Slugger.
Silver Slugger. Just
Hank
give it all
Aaron,
to him, man.
Hank Aaron Award. Yep.
Might have the greatest single season of all time.